Morning, Dorothy. It's Nonna with Worried Arthur today. I know you've got a Worried Arthur story, and this one's all about Christmas. Arthur was a penguin and a worrier. Arthur worried about whether he would grow as tall as his father. He worried because his hair stood on end. And now, of all things, Arthur was worried about Christmas. One day, Arthur came home from school. He looked even more worried than usual. "What have you been doing today?" asked Dad. "Map of the world," mumbled Arthur. He didn't sound too happy about it. "And where do we live?" asked Dad, hoping Arthur was concentrating. "It's called Antarctica," said Arthur, "near the South Pole." "Well done, Arthur," beamed Dad. Good little mice down there. That night, Arthur padded across the landing, climbed onto Dad's bed and tugged at his pyjamas. "I'm worried, Dad." Dad stopped snoring and woke up with a start. "What is it, Arthur?" "It's the map of the world, Dad. We live at the South Pole. Santa Claus lives at the North Pole. What if he gets tired before he arrives here? What if he runs out of toys?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," said Dad firmly. "Santa Claus got down here all right when I was a lad, and he still had plenty of toys left." Arthur looked less worried and trotted back to bed and fell to sleep. On the last day of term, Arthur brought home his school report. He hovered nervously while Dad read all about him. "Well done, Arthur. You've worked hard all term, and although your writing is rather illegible, it's nothing to worry about." That night, Arthur kept his light on, late. It took him a long time to find illegible in his dictionary, and when he did, it was all very worrying. In the middle of the night, Arthur padded across the landing. He shuffled around to the end of Dad's bed and biffed him on the beak. "I'm worried, Dad," he whispered. Dad stopped snoring and woke up with a start. "What is it, Arthur?" "It's my writing, Dad. What if Santa Claus can't read it? What if he doesn't bring the things on my list?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," said Dad firmly. "For your information, Santa Claus is the world's leading expert on handwriting. Good heavens, he'd be out of a job if he couldn't read double Dutch." Arthur looked less worried and went back to sleep. 2 days before Christmas, it began to snow heavily, and Dad got out at Arthur's toboggan. Some of Arthur's friends came round to play, and they all made a snowman together. God, they've come a long way, Dorothy, all the way from the North Pole. Arthur was tired out when he went to bed, but he still woke up worrying. Just after midnight, Arthur padded across the landing, opened Dad's curtains. "I'm worried, Dad," he whispered. Dad stopped snoring and woke up with a start. "Whatever is it this time, Arthur?" Arthur pulled Dad over to the window. "It's the weather, Dad. It started to snow again. What if there's great big drifts on Christmas Eve? What if Santa can't get through?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," said Dad firmly. "You don't think Santa Claus will be put off by a bit of snow, do you? Whatever do you think he's got those hulking great reindeer for?" Arthur looked less worried and went back to sleep. On Christmas Eve, Dad and Arthur decorated their tree. They put their presents underneath, and Arthur wrote his labels very clearly. And after supper, Dad sat on the end of Arthur's bed and read him a story. It was Arthur's favourite, but he still looked worried. "Now look here, son," said Dad. "I could use a good night's sleep, so if there's anything worrying you, you'd better get it off your chest." "It's my room," whispered Arthur. "What if Santa Claus comes into my room and sees all my books and toys? What if he thinks I don't deserve any more?" "Well, you can stop worrying about that," said Dad firmly. "If Santa Claus only brought presents to deserving children, he'd only need to work part-time. But if it makes you feel any better, we can leave him a note." So, Arthur and Dad left a message at the top of the stairs, and it suggested very tactfully that Santa might like to leave Arthur's gifts on the landing. As soon as they'd written the note, Arthur looked less worried. "One more thing," said Dad. "Yes, Dad." "If anything else worries you in the night, Arthur, keep it to yourself until tomorrow." There's his note. It says, "Dear Santa, please, if it's at all possible, as my bedroom is a little untidy, could you leave my presents just here? Love, Arthur. P.S. There's a mince pie in the kitchen." But that night Arthur and Dad both slept like logs. Next morning Arthur sat up in bed. Ouch! He banged his head on the shelf above his bed. "Yippee!" cried Arthur. "I must be growing." And he jumped out of bed and looked in the mirror, and Arthur smoothed down his hair, and it stayed there. And then he looked out on the landing, and sure enough, there was a stocking filled with everything Arthur had asked for. Arthur waited patiently for Dad to wake up, and at last he came onto the landing. "Merry Christmas, Arthur. How are you feeling this morning?" "I'm feeling funny, Dad," said Arthur, and then he smiled. "It must be because I'm not worrying." He had a big hug from Dad, and look, the little mice are there with their stocking too. There we are, a happy Christmas for Arthur and his dad. Bye-bye, Dorothy.